Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a surprise for my subscribers and I think they're going to be very excited, and it has to do with the Hellcat Magnum that is behind me. So a few weeks ago I was making my own stainless steel brake lines, and a subscriber reached out to me and said there's a company that makes stainless steel brake lines for the Charger and Challenger platform. So I went and reached out to this company, sent them a bunch of pictures, told them exactly what I was doing, and they made it happen. I have worked with so many good companies on this project, and just to have a company like this modify their brake lines a little bit to make it work with the Durango ABS pump was amazing. I could have bent these lines out of stainless steel, and I actually did started to fit them, and they were fitting great. But at the end of the day, CNC bent lines and flared lines that you don't have to worry about, it just is peace of mind. So these lines, they are amazing looking. But the one thing we have to do is, in shipping, they bend them in a way that you can unbend them in straight sections. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get all these lines unbent, get them ready, get them installed into the car, and I cannot wait to see these things because they are going to be so nice. And hopefully everything fits because everything was done over the phone. Luckily enough, the company has a CNC bender that they make all the lines with. The long brake lines have shipping bends, so they put a sticker where you need to unbend them and make them straight. This right here needs to be straight, so I'm going to run it through my tubing straightener. All right, so I have been trying to install the lines that I got, and they don't fit very well. I'm not exactly sure what the issue is. The weird thing is the master cylinder all the way up to here should be untouched and there shouldn't be any issues. But the only thing that fits well is the stuff that they modified. So I think, and then this is the one line that I made before. I think what I'm going to do, because they accidentally flip-flopped the fittings anyway, I really don't want to wait to have them remake them and send them out. It'll probably take another week and a half. So what I'm going to end up doing is, this is the one line I made for the passenger side. I already have the driver side almost all the way made. I have that one coming from the master cylinder pretty much all the way made, except for going to the ABS pump. I should have just made these myself. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I guess I just want to give companies chances, and they did it really. They helped me out. So even though the lines didn't fit, I mean, they tried. But yeah, it came out pretty nice. I now have figured out what is going on with these brake lines and why they're not fitting. So I looked at the Hellcat, and this small line is supposed to be up here. So that's why these aren't fitting. But the issue is this back line, that's a small one, is supposed to go to right here. So technically that back one is supposed to be this larger one, but this larger one needs to go to this port on the pump. Yeah, so I figured out the problem. So all I need to do, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remake all the lines, because these two lines aren't good. The other two lines for the driver's side front caliper and the passenger side front caliper isn't good, and I haven't really verified the rear ones, but they probably are mixed up as well. So let's get all of this right here fixed. So if you have this straightener too tight, it's going to curve it a little bit. So you know you're perfect when it stops curving it. Ready to start making our line. I'm gonna put the flaring tool in here. This thing has come in handy. Next thing you're gonna wanna do before you flare this is cut down that little bit of weird cut part from the tubing cutter, I guess. All you do is get a drill, hit it, then you have a nice end to start flaring. You don't really have to put the end on the tube yet since there is no bends. So pretty much I'm just going to slide that on there, and then this is 3/16. These dies are 3/16, and I'm going to put this in, put this to the 0 option, and clamp everything down, give it a little snug, push that in to put it at the right depth, tighten it down. Then you go to the first option, which is 3/16. Everybody was mad at my brake line making video because I put so much brake fluid on there. You don't have to use brake fluid, but I just have a bunch of extra. It's an easy way to get rid of it. And 3/16. This is the second option. This is the flare. First one bulges it. Now you can see a nice flare ready to start the first bend. The easiest thing you could do if you have a vise is clamp in your tubing bender, and then you have one hand to hold the line and get it in the correct orientation, which we're going to go as close as possible, I think was the first bend. And you can compare lines pretty easily to get bends. So I'm just going to do the same exact bend I did here. Looks like it's almost all the way. Just a little bit off. That was a 90, right? Yeah, it looks like it's a 90, but you don't want to go on. You don't want to do a 90 because you have this fitting on there. So we're going to put our fitting in the same spot. Have our bender here. You don't want to go all the way to a 90 because of the fitting. Now should have close to the same exact bend right here. Pretty close. I want to go just a hair more. Right there. Good way to figure out where your bends are if you're just copying lines is stick the line up against the die. Then you just mark that right there, and you can mark in front if you want to. Then all I'm going to do is transfer that. So now I have those lined up, and I want to make sure the orientation is correct and it's straight. And then all you have to do is give her a bend. And I want it to be even with this. So all I'm doing is making sure this right here is the same as that. This bend, I have my 2 marks right there, and how I achieve those 2 marks is it's nice to have little scrap pieces at different angles, and then you mark and then you just go like this, and now I know my bend will be perfect. And then you have to worry about the offset, so you stick this in here, and the pump is over here, and then I need to bend it this way. Actually, I need to bend it this way. All the front brake lines are now done. We have the passenger side line right here. It is actually rubbing because it's not bolted into the brake line. So once it's done, it'll be right there like it should be. The two coming from the master cylinder, which are these two, and then the other one coming from the driver's side front caliper. So the last two lines I need to make are these two right here, and those are going to go to the rear two calipers. And good thing the Durango one has both of these labeled. Actually, all these are labeled except for the master cylinder. And what I'm going to do is do the closest one and then the furthest one away, which is nice because this is the driver's side. That's going to be the longer one anyway, and we can get all this finally done in the parts Magnum, or the old Scat Pack Magnum, and then I could put all these brake lines into the charger in here, which will be really nice. And what I plan on doing when I do the brake lines is I'm going to drop out the engine and transmission just so I could put them in as one whole assembly for all the front lines, so I don't have to unclip them because they're kind of a pain to get back in all the clips and holders. Pulled the Durango Hellcat ABS pump out of the parts Magnum, and now it is back in the Magnum Hellcat. What I'm going to do now is throw the rear lines in here, make sure they fit. So I was working with a company, they helped me out on the lines, and then the front ones, they flip-flopped everything. So they had the two from the master cylinder flip-flopped and the two front calipers flip-flopped. I'm going to test fit the rear lines to make sure. I did get in a line making mode, so I was going to make the rear line, and that's a 25-foot piece of 3/16 stainless steel. It's a foot too short. So I bent the whole thing, and it was coming out perfect, and we are literally maybe not even a foot, maybe like 6 inches too short. So I think what I'm going to do is test fit their rear brake lines and make sure they fit, and hopefully they do. And then I contacted them about the front lines. I made a set of front lines, and I showed you guys that, because if worse comes to worse, I'll just use my lines, and they came out really nice. But that company has a CNC bender, and that's really the whole reason why I wanted them to make me some lines. But I've made plenty of stainless steel lines. I think they came out really nice. So I'll wait for the response tomorrow. Let's throw in these rear lines, and hopefully they don't have those flip-flopped as well. I mean, we talked, it's not their fault. We talked through email and phone, and they just got the ABS pump locations mixed up. The company makes these aftermarket stainless steel lines, a two-piece, and I'm guessing that's mostly for shipping. And you also want to transfer over these little rubber isolators, so if there's any contact, it's not going to rub through. And I put them exactly in the same spots that it would be on the factory line. Actually, this one slid down. That one needs to go up there. But yeah, let's throw this line on, and then I just need to tighten everything down with a 10 and a 12. And there's this fitting you're going to hold, and these two on both sides. Oh. So at first I really didn't like these two-piece lines, but man, it makes them a lot easier to install, I'll tell you that. You wouldn't think it would, but it definitely does. I'm keeping all the little separators. I'll probably put extra ones in, so it just holds everything apart better. Look at that. All right, we have this other line. I think this one goes on the bottom. Hope so. Okay. It's weird. Installed the rear brake lines, and unfortunately there are a lot of problems with them. So, not saying anything negative towards the company, but these two lines are flip-flopped. This line should be going, actually they're in the front ports, so that's the biggest thing, but these fittings are flip-flopped. So this line should be going to the rear left. This line should be going to, hold on, what did I say? I'm confusing myself now. So no, this line right here needs to go to the rear left. This line right here needs to go to the rear right. So the fittings are flip-flopped, the lines are flip-flopped, they're in the front ports flip-flopped. The two master cylinders were flip-flopped, the front ports were flip-flopped. So I'm gonna reach out to the company tomorrow, see what they say about the lines, and if worse comes to worse, I already have the front lines made, and I'm really happy that I decided to just bust those things out today and get them done, because I want to get this car running and driving. I have been killing myself trying to get this thing running and driving, and it just feels like I'm spinning my wheels trying to have things done. I get them, they're wrong, I have to send them back, get them again, they're wrong. It just is like a nightmare. So hopefully we can get this thing done tomorrow, get the brake lines in. And I think that the rear left one I made, since those ones are in the incorrect ports on the front, I was thinking that they were in the correct position, but that is maybe a good thing, because that might mean I have enough length on that line right there to make that work for the rear left line. So, and then the passenger side line is a lot shorter. So I'm going to end the video here. If you like these videos, make sure to click that subscribe button, throw a thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.